This is Tackle Talk Live, an inside scoop on how, when, and where to catch bass, with a primary focus on Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn. Interviews with anglers who are consistent winners on the tournament trail. Your hosts, Camus Boats Pro Staffer Steve Graff and Gill Fishing Accounts Manager Kevin Jean. Two anglers who understand bass fishing with tournament success on all levels. Anglers willing to share their knowledge to help you become a better fisherman. So sit up and pay close attention as they give detailed tournament information and results. Here are the hosts of Tackle Talk Live, Steve Graff and Kevin Jean.
Welcome to Tackle Talk Live. I'm Iowa Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with Gill Fishing Accounts Manager Kevin Jean. And Kevin, today, this is our summer finale. We'll kind of wrap things up for the summer. We will return in September when the championships start to come back, the regionals and all that start to take place. We'll be back and cover some of those. But for right now, with summer coming to, basically for our show coming to an end this summer, just not a lot going on right now. It's getting hot. A lot of circuits are winding down. They're kind of done till the fall.
Yeah, it's just you said it, Steve. It's getting too hot. There's just not enough going on. We want to do this for to everybody to get the views, to hear what they want to hear, and there's just not enough out there going on right now. Do this every year. Again, this is our 5th year. We take off till about September. We'll do a couple shows September, a couple shows in October, possibly. Then come back January, first week of January, hit the ground running. So, but we got an interview, a great interview today. Ryan Pinkston is coming on. Steve, he's been guiding. He started guiding about a month or two ago, and he's been very busy. He's been on the water a lot on Toledo Bend, and his if you could follow him on his Facebook page, man, they have been catching them, and they've been catching some big ones. Ryan is fishing the Brandon Belt tournament coming up in a couple of weeks. So he's going to kind of give us a lake breakdown, kind of expect how he thinks, the fish will be caught. Will it be shallow in the grass, out deep, and just kind of give us a little fishing report for Toledo Bend.
Yeah. Well, looking forward to having Ryan on. I don't know if we've ever had Ryan on before. I think
we've had him on. He's won a tournament or two. We've had him on a couple of times. Yeah.
Looking forward to having him back on, give us a good report from Toledo Bend. Also, we're going to wrap up the 2-day Louisiana Pro League. It's a new division for the ABA Pro League here in Louisiana. It had a good turnout. I think it had over 40-something anglers show up, which I thought was a good turnout. It was on Caddo Lake, and we'll talk about the winner of that one as well. And so we got lake levels from both Sam Rayburn and Toledo Bend. I've got a good tip of the week for all you guys that like to punch grass or flip bushes, which is something you may want to do at Toledo Bend coming up in 2 weeks. We got all this and more right here today on Tackle Talk Live. We're going to take a quick break, recognize a few of our sponsors. When we return, we will have Ryan Pinkston on the phone with us. You're watching Tackle Talk Live.
A good marine dealer is hard to find, but a great dealer is even harder. But in Iowa, Louisiana, there's a marine dealer that falls into the great category. Power Implements Marine, South Louisiana's go-to dealer for all things related to the boating industry. A Minn Kota, Garmin, and Mercury dealer, guaranteeing you first-rate service in both sales and repair. A great selection of new and used boats to choose from, including Skeeter, G3, Ranger, Camus, and Go Devil. A knowledgeable staff that will treat you like family and are always willing to go the extra mile to ensure you walk out a happy customer. To see everything they have to offer, go to powerimplements.com or stop by 606 East Miller Street in Iowa, Louisiana. Plus, mention Tackle Talk Live and save $500 off a new or pre-owned boat or $50 off your first service ticket. Toledo Health is a full-service primary and acute care clinic. Nurse practitioners Jarrett Rule and Melissa Vines bring quality health care that's needed and convenient to the area. Nothing is worse than being sick on your family or fishing getaway. Whether it's a stomach virus or a hook in the hand, Toledo Healthcare will try and meet all your health care needs. Appointments available and walk-ins are always welcome. So the next time you're feeling down at Toledo Bend, stop by Toledo Healthcare, located on Highway 6 just south of Toledo Town, or call 318-508-5323. Very few stores are a complete one-stop shop, but Cypress Knee Outdoors is such a place. A store within a store. Cypress Knee is located inside 3J's four-way. Whether you need gas, food, drinks, or bait and tackle, they have it. Cypress Knee Outdoors carries top-name fishing brands like Strike King, Sandtone, Spro, and V&M. Crappie jigs from Bobby Garland. Need hunting gear? They have it. Ammunition from rifle to shotgun shells. Deer scents from Buck Wild and Doe and Heat. Deer stands from Titan and feeders from T-Hanger. Cypress Knee has it all. Located off I-49, exit 127, just south of Natchitoches, Louisiana. So stop by Cypress Knee Outdoors and let John Abram and his staff show you everything they have to offer. Or give them a call at 318-238-HUNT. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
You're watching Tackle Talk Live. We appreciate each and every one of you tuning us in. Make sure to spread the word. Also, make sure to click on subscribe whenever you pull us up on our YouTube page. This segment presented by Toledo Health, 3J's Four-Way, home of Cypress Knee Outdoors, Seaguar Fishing Line, and Power Implements Marine, located right there in Iowa, Louisiana. If you mention Tackle Talk Live, you'll either get $500 off the new or used purchase of a new or used boat, or you get $50 off your service ticket, your first service ticket. So make sure you mention you heard about them on Tackle Talk Live. It goes a long way for us, goes a long way for you. And and they love to hear the feedback. All right. On the Tackle Talk Hotline, we've got Toledo Bend guide and a really good angler guy we have the utmost respect for, Ryan Pinkston. Ryan, man, appreciate you taking time out here today. I don't know if you're guiding right now or whatever you got going on, but
he's on the water.
He's on the water.
We are
That's
on the water.
thing.
Hey, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me. But yes, we are on the water today.
Ryan, my first question is basically right now, as we speak, how is Toledo Bend fishing right now? Is it good, bad, in between?
Fishing really good. I would say overall for the year, it's definitely on an uptick, if you know what I mean. The overall fishing the last couple of weeks has also been really good. If I had to rate it from a 0 to 10, I'd give it a strong 7, maybe even an 8. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It looks really good.
That better be a high 8 looking at your Facebook post of what you're catching, Ryan. For you guys that don't follow Ryan Pinkston, make sure to go follow him on Instagram and Facebook, not only for guide purposes, anybody want to go out with a guide, but just see what he's catching. Steve, he's been leaning on a few. We'll leave it at that. He's been
it's been a good couple of weeks here lately. Yeah, especially a few specific days that just don't happen very often. But overall, just the quality of 3 to 5 pound fish. There's a lot of them out there this year, so that's good.
Ryan, one question I got for you on your guiding real quick. If somebody, do you get a lot of calls right now with forward-facing sonar being the hot topic? Do you get a lot of guys wanting to go out and learn how to do that with you?
I do. I get a lot of. Probably the number one call I get, especially for me, is wanting to understand structure and understand summer patterns and just fishing offshore, which I incorporate that if they want to, going over live scope. So I do get that call specifically. Had one, actually two, this week said, hey, can we just go, learn live scope or go specifically target, 2 or 3 fish all day, just look for big fish. So yes, Steve, I do get that. But probably the number one thing I get is just people saying, hey, what am I looking at? What am I looking for and what am I looking at? Which is what I like to do. When the fish get off the bank, that's when I like to go fishing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ryan, we got the Brandon Belt Championship coming up. You're fishing it. You're in that event. I know you are. But man, let's kind of jump into that a little bit. The way Toledo Bend is setting up, those fish are going to be caught several different ways. Kind of take us through your take on the championship. Weights are going to be up. We both know that. I mean, Toledo Bend is fishing very, very well right now. I don't know if it's going to be what it was last year, the Brandon Belt in July, because it took some weight to win that 2-day tournament last year. But kind of give us a breakdown of Toledo Bend going into the event, what you think of the Brandon Belt event.
Yeah, it's going to be a really spectacular event. I know me and Scooter are looking forward to it. We've been looking forward to it. Anytime we get a chance to fish a big event during the summer, we get excited, if you know what I mean. I think you're right in the sense of I don't think we'll see the overall weights quite as high as it was last year. I think we'll still see several, 25-pound plus bags, and it wouldn't surprise me for a couple of 30s. But it's a three-day event, and to be able to put that together for 3 days is probably going to be, kind of difficult, which is understandable. But as far as the number of 20, 21, 22-pound bags, I think you're going to see, several of those bags. As far as, kind of techniques, I think, from what we saw just a few weeks ago in the Triple T event down there, you can catch them from grass to 20 foot deep. So really it's kind of a buffet out there, if you know what I mean. I think each angler, whatever their specific technique or whatever they like to do is, I think they'll be able to do it here in a couple of weeks in that tournament.
One thing I've noticed, Ryan, is the lake level pretty much is staying up 6.36 inches above pool right now as we speak this morning. It looks like it's on a slow fall, 0.84 in 24 hours, 3.96 inches in 10 days. So that being said, my question is, will the bushes come into play at all by this time, or will the lake have fallen out too much out of them?
No, I don't think the no and no. The bushes won't be a factor. You can go up there and fun fish, and catch a few fish, but they're not going to be a factor in this tournament. What you're going to also see is the lake, even if they do pull on it hard, it's not going to come down enough in 2 weeks. The lake's too high. I mean, we need it, Kevin, we need it 4 or 5 feet lower. And it'll kind of, specifically put them in some areas that they need to be in. They're scattered. I mean, they'll bite. And they're biting pretty good, but they're scattered. They're not grouped up like they usually are. See, what we had, what happened this year is kind of a unique, late spring. It didn't get hot until about 2 weeks ago. And then when it got hot, it got really hot quick. But even in May, when we're supposed to be out there throwing crankbaits, I mean, the lake was high and there was fish still up there around the bushes. I mean, the water temp was still in the 70s. And then we had, just a couple of weeks ago, we had 3 weeks of rain. I mean, it rained every day. The wind blew. Well, that wind keeps that water temperature cooler, and the rains kept it a little bit cooler. And then when it shut off, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, it went from about low 80s, 82, 83, to right now it's 91, 92, and it's hot. I don't think, though, with that being said, there's still some fish scattered, and you can still catch some in that mid-range depth, that 8 to 12 foot. There's a few fish getting out there. There's always fish deep. You know how that is. But there's a few out there. There's just not – normally in July, you can go set up on your full summer patterns, and they're just not quite there. And the problem with that is the shad just started moving off the bank, about a week and a half ago, and they're not completely out there yet. And the second thing, it's not hot enough, and the lake's too high. So you kind of got 3 factors against you. That being said, we're gonna catch crap out of them.
So here's what I'm hearing you say,
catch some fish.
So here's what I'm hearing you say. Between now and the tournament, there's still going to be some changes going on Toledo Bend. Coming from a guy that likes to fish like you like to fish, offshore, way out there offshore, river channel type stuff. You think the fish are just now starting to get out to that lot deeper stuff that you and I are used to fishing in July. And the thing about that is if this tournament times it out right and it happens when those fish initially get out there, it can be a whack fest.
Oh, it will be. And that's kind of what you're seeing right now. And what I ran into
they're
a
just
couple
getting
weeks
there
ago,
so they don't have all the pressure.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And they're eating, and that's kind of in those mid-depths. That's kind of what I ran into in a few spots a couple of weeks ago. And the problem with that is most of those fish are gone. They're working their way out there. They're going to come out to some of those, those points, those creek bends, and those, those early summer, really stuff we'd be fishing in May, we're fishing in June. And it's everything's a little bit delayed, which that being said, now I'm talking structure, I'm not talking grass. But with that being said, it very well, you may run by a spot in practice or a couple days before, and then you pull up out there, during the tournament, and it's loaded. You see what I'm saying? And they're going, they'll bite every cast. Yeah, that's kind of where we are. I think there will be some surprises to a few people in the next couple of weeks because they're just getting in a few specific areas.
Ryan, what about, we know it's going to be deep cranking, big worm, 10-inch, 12-inch worms. I mean, those are mainstays this time of year. Is there a bait you might want to say, you better have one of these tied on?
He ain't telling you that, Steve. He's
Steve, I can't tell you that. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, are we talking a Carolina rig? You might want to have a rig tied on. Just something else you want to drag.
You need to have.
Let's break down that question a little bit more, Steve. So, in my opinion, Ryan, there's two ways to win this tournament. You tell me if I'm wrong. You got your deep guys, your deep guys structure out deep. I'm really pretty deep. You're telling me they're just getting out there, and then you have your grass flippers.
Correct.
It can be, in my opinion. We just talked to Steven Johnson. Steve, 2 weeks ago? They won his team trail championship there, flipping grass. Now he caught them cranking on a cranking spot on day one, but they upgraded throughout the rest of the day flipping grass. Day 2, 30 pounds was all flipping grass. So, in my opinion, this tournament can be won one of two ways: grass flipping and out deep. Would you agree?
I agree. And the thing is, I love to flip grass also. I'm not going to be doing that because I don't fish, mainly I fish, mid-lake, area of the lake, mid-lake and up. And the grass is all on the south end of Toledo. And I don't go down there too often. Yeah. So yes, you're right. From what they showed the other day, it can happen again. And grass fishing, the hotter it gets, a lot of times the better it is. And they're just, it's going to be the same way, even if whether it's structure or whether it's grass, they're just getting out there in some of those places. But what Steven and them did do, what him and Tim did do, is they opened that window to everybody else. So all the other guys that are going to be grass fishing, they're going to be, beating the, what's out of it in the lower ends of the lake. And some of them are going to stumble upon them. And you know how it is when you get on the right stretch. I mean, all it takes is, 20 yards. I mean, you can get on the right 20-yard stretch of grass and you can have 30 pounds in 5 or 6 flips. So you got one or two ways to do it, and that's what it's going to be. There's not going to be any, the fish are getting away from the bank, so I think that's pretty much out the window right now.
And let me tell you, Steve, Ryan is telling everybody grass, because that gets everybody away from him.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Well, that's the goal here.
Ryan
Pinkston loves to see that hydrilla come back and everybody go fish the grass. I can promise you.
Well, another thing too, Ryan, there's another technique that some guys may employ, and I don't know if you probably can't win the tournament doing this, but you can probably maybe catch a one or two fish off of boat docks. As a boat dock pattern, is it in pretty good shape right now?
I honestly don't know. I don't fish boat docks or not this time of year, Steve, so I really don't know. I did talk to a guy the other day, though, that did catch some at night off of boat docks pretty good. And so that, it was night fishing, though, in full moon, the other day. So they went out night fishing, caught them pretty good around boat docks. But me specifically, I haven't fished any, and I haven't been around any boat docks in a month.
You might catch one, here or two, one maybe upgrade, but it will not be one. It won't.
Yeah, I know you won't win a tournament doing that. But.
No, I don't think there'll be a check cash with the way like Ryan said, if they're moving offshore like he's saying, and with the grass doing what he's doing, that's it. I mean, you can go do the boat dock thing and all that. I don't see it getting a check. Yeah. Now, come September, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't see it.
Now, Ryan, would you say the lake is a month behind? Everybody keeps telling me. I think Steven Johnson even said that a couple of weeks ago that it's about a month behind from where it usually is at this point right now.
Oh, no, that's exactly right. That's what I was alluding to a minute ago. The water temperatures just now got to where, it's in the low 90s. It should have been there a month ago. And with it being high and windy, we just kind of had a late cool spring. It wasn't cold, but it was cool. So it kept that water temperature down. And being that there was a lot of cover in the water when those shads spawned, I mean, they didn't leave. They just hung around the bank. And so, of course, the fish did. And so, that's what I was getting at. Everything's a little bit delayed this year. and the high waters made it a little bit worse. So it's we're fishing a little bit behind, and they're scattered. Like I said earlier, I mean, you can catch where there should be 4 or 5 in a spot, you may only catch 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Ryan, last year Brandon Belt was here in July. It was not the championship; it was a 2-day tournament. Took 57 pounds to win it. They had first through third place was all over 50 pounds. 2 days. 2 days now. That was unheard of for July. And I don't know if it's going to do that again. Now, this tournament is 3 days long. Give me your winning prediction for 3-day championship, Brandon Belt Championship on Toledo Bend.
I think you're going to see something around the mid-70s, something like that. 73 to 76, what's that, 25 pounds a day. And where I think that'll come from is I think, somebody could have potential to, catch a 28 to, 35 pound bag, and then follow it up. You're just not going to do that 3 days in a row. Now, I can't speak for the grass,
right.
Steven and Tim, they may do it again. I don't know. But even grass fishing, 2 days in a row is tough. 3 days in a row is really tough on any kind of pattern. And so you better have some, and we didn't get into this a minute ago, you better, since they're not all out there yet, you better have some backup plans. You better have, a plan B, C, and D also, just because they're just not real thick yet. But back to what you're saying, I think you're going to be somewhere in the mid-70s. I hope everybody's got 75 pounds and me and Scooter have 76. That's what I'm hoping for, or whatever the weight is. But that's kind of what I have in mind. Last year we had 20 pounds a day and we came in 11th. So we didn't even, sniff the top 10. Should have had a little more the second day, probably 22 or 3, but that still wouldn't have moved us up but 3 or 4 places. So you're going to see those weights again, but I think they're going to fall off a little bit quicker in this tournament just because things are a little bit behind. They're a little bit scattered.
Yeah. Ryan, any idea about how many boats will be in this event?
I think it's 75, I believe is what it is.
Okay.
I think they have, I think there's a cut on this one this year. They had, qualification. They may have last year. I don't remember, but I believe it's 75. But if and you've seen and you've kept up with the weights in the tournaments this year, I mean, it is truly the best of the best, if you know what I mean, across the state. And actually some guys, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, that, fish pro or semi-pro, and I don't know if we'll make it to the championship, but I know they fish some of the earlier season tournaments.
Yeah. There's some hammers in this one. And so, all right, Ryan, we appreciate it, man. Looking forward to seeing how you do. We're going to be keeping up with you. And
thank you.
Obviously, if you win, we're going to have you back on. So
I'm ready. Let's do it again.
We'll bring you back. And all right, Kevin, you got anything else? All right, Ryan, thank you, bud. We'll get Kevin unfrozen here in just a minute. Back on. We appreciate your information. Thank you, bud. All right. Ryan Pinkston, we appreciate Ryan coming on with us and spending time to kind of give us a good idea of what's going to take place on Toledo Bend. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll get Kevin back with us here. When we return, we got lake level reports, tournament results from the ABA 2-day event on Caddo Lake, where it took over 20 pounds per day to win that event. You're watching Tackle Talk Live. We'll be right back.
Pride Rods, custom-built fishing rods made to handle any and all techniques. Fishing rods designed for sensitivity and made to last in Montgomery, Texas. Built by Billy Kistler with the finest Gary Loomis North Fork composite blanks available. They offer a complete line of spinning and casting rods for both fresh and salt water. Pride Rods do more than pass the eye test. They excel in performance as well. Ask your local tackle dealer if they carry Pride Rods and pick one up to try it for yourself. Take pride in your fishing by using Pride Rods. To learn more, go to priderods.com or call 832-418-6040. The Lakes Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency taking care of Texans' insurance needs for over 25 years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, RV, life, health, and commercial insurance. Owner Clark Moore is a local fishing guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs and wants to be your go-to guide for all your insurance needs. For a free quote, give him a call and see why so many Texans trust the Lake Insurance Agency. 2 locations to serve you in both Nacogdoches, and Broadus, Texas. Or give them a call at 936-205-4467. The next time you're headed for Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn, stop by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle. They have an awesome supply of everything you'll need to catch the big ones. Whether your trip calls for bass fishing, white perch tackle, catfish bait, or the ultimate fighting shiners, Keith's Tackle has you covered. Keith and former Elite Series pro Ben Matsubu also have the latest information on what, how, and where you need to be fishing on Sam Rayburn or the Bend. So for all your tackle needs, check out Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, located just off Highway 21 on the Texas side of Toledo Bend, or call 409-625-0181. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
Welcome back to the final segment here of Tackle Talk Live here on June the 25th of 2024. This segment presented by Seagar Fishing Line, Pride Rods, Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, the Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches, and they got two locations, one in Nacogdoches, of course, and one in Broadus, right there on the shores of Sam Rayburn, and Power Implements Marine, located right there in Iowa, Louisiana. Kevin, what happens if they walk in and say, hey, I heard it on Tackle Talk Live?
Yeah, $50 off any service ticket, Steve, of any work you need done, or $500 off the purchase of a new or used boat. So stop by Tackle Talk. Stop by Power Implements Marine and tell them Tackle Talk Live sent you.
Kevin, give us you kind of got froze up there on your end. Give us. I know you had an opinion as to what it might take to win this Brandon Belt. Give us a little insight on that.
Yeah, and I didn't hear how Ryan what his answer was, so I apologize. Something happened with my internet, but Steve, last year was unheard of for the month of July. I mean, a 2-day tournament having 3 over 50, but I think this year's going to be a lot of the same. I don't think it's going to be that kind of weights, but there's going to be several. I'm going to say 3 to 4 30-pound or above stringers.
Yeah.
But the key to that is, what do you do before that 30-pound stringer or after?
Yeah.
You take last year, I think Kevin Lazzie and Randy DeSpino weighed in like 33, 34 in this belt. It might have been a little more or less. I can't remember exactly, but it was it was good ways into the 30s. Well, they only had, low 20s on day one. So there will be several 30-pound stringers caught, in my opinion. Yeah. But and Ryan said it, you better have some backup plans, because there's a lot of fish moving. There's a lot of really good anglers. What do you do on those other 2 days that you don't catch that 30? I don't feel like you're going to see anybody with any one team have over 30 twice, but definitely can be done several times. But what do you do on those other days? And that's what's going to decide who wins it.
And this is a tournament, Kevin, with this many, 75. He said there'll be 75 teams in this event. Yep. We're talking 75 hammers here. We're talking guys that know what they're doing. Some of them do it for a living. You got guys fishing this deal. So my point is, there's fish all over the lake, but we all know there's only certain spots that are going to hold the fish to win this event. And it's going to be a shooting. Could be some words exchanged in this tournament a little bit.
There'll be a lot of words exchanged in lots of various ways. But yes, you're right. 75 of the best anglers. And Steve, there's probably about 10 to 20 of those guys that fish the Brandon Belt circuit just because the championship was on Toledo Bend. Yes,
that's exactly right. Yeah.
Cole Moore, Kobe Miller.
Yeah.
Ryan Pinkston. I mean, I can go down the list of just who's
Kevin and Despino. That's one of the reasons they fished.
Randy Despino, Tim Renault. They're coming off the Texas Team Trail win. Yep. You can go down the list of these guys. I mean, Castledine.
Yeah.
You can go down the list of these guys that are going to catch them. And I think it will take. I agree. I heard Ryan say 70. I'm going to say it's going to be 30. 22, 20, so 70. I'm going to say 73 is what it's going to take to win.
Yeah, I think that's probably a really good call. And so good luck to all you guys fishing the Brandon Belt. Again, we won't be on there next week, but hopefully you gained something out of what Ryan had to say today. It was great. He gave some great tips today and kind of gave you a good idea where the lake's at right now. So, and it will change over 2 weeks. It will change, but we may get a tropical system come through. Who knows what's going to happen?
True.
But anyway, all right. Let's see here real quick. I've got the ABA results. It's the 2-day divisional for ABA for the new Louisiana division. It was on Caddo Lake. Matthew Razor won this event. He had 42.61 for 2 days. Kevin, I think he had a 22 or 23 pound bag on one day, and I think a 19 something on the second day. But he did have he did have a 734 kicker, so to win the event. Ben McCormick, I know Ben, really good angler up there in that Shreveport area. He finished second with 38.78. Stephen Lutterman, that's Jerry Lutterman's son. Jerry's an outstanding angler, and his son Stephen right on his way to being another great angler himself. He finished third with 33.50. Don Kennedy was fourth with 32.44. Zach Willis was fifth with 31.82. Joe Fleming was sixth with 29.61. Casey Kidd was seventh with 27.49. Dusty Wood, who I know him and his family really well. Dusty's glad to see Dusty fishing again. Dusty was eighth with 25.60. Wayne Foreman was ninth with 25.29. Ran out top 10 was Glenn Robertson, who came in, who had a 6.23 kicker for 24.99, right at 25 pounds. So good turnout. They had over 40-something guys there to fish an individual tournament. And I look for this circuit to grow because the H&W has announced they're not having an H&W, or Mike Eccles will be running the H&W team circuit next year, if there's even going to be an H&W team circuit, which could really spell good news for ABA, as guys are going to be looking for something to fish. And what a great organization to jump into. If you decide to fish ABA, you will not be disappointed. So, Kevin, I think we got this weekend fishing for Lydia. It's on Toledo Bend, benefit tournament for her.
Out of Cypress Bend. We shared it on our Facebook page last week. I'll try to share it again today. It's a young lady, very young lady that's having some health complications out in Natchitoches. 100% of the proceeds goes to her and that family. So if you're around able to fish, guys, you need to get out there. I'll try to reshare it. Go back on our Facebook post. I shared it last week. So make sure if you're able to fish to get out and fish that tournament this weekend at Cypress Bend.
Kevin, Toledo Bend lake level, 172.53. Right now, Kev, it's 6.36 inches above pool. What do you see happening? Well, let's say no rain comes through. It's just, typical summertime pattern, hot. Do you see it coming down below pool by tournament time for the Brandon Belt? 6 inches?
If you have absolutely no rain, Steve, I could see that coming down a little bit. It's not going to fall that much.
Yeah.
We have no drought. People like Ryan, and if I was fishing it myself, I would love for it to, because those offshore guys, the lower it gets, the more grouped up they get. Those grass guys don't want to see it happen. I can tell you that. They want to see water stay where it's at. And I think it might fall a little bit again if we don't get any rain or any kind of tropical development, in the Gulf. I think it's going to hold pretty steady. But as Ryan said, there's those fish are just now moving. We're about a month behind on Toledo Bend. Those fish are just now moving out there to those true summer patterns. So again, Steve, if those fish get out there the week of this event, it's going to be a slug.
Yeah,
it's going to be a slugfest anyway, but it will really be a slugfest.
Just to let you know, over the last 10 days, it has come down 3.96 inches. They were a week ago pulling it a lot harder because it came down like 8 inches in 10 days, but they've slowed it down. 24-hour loss is 0.84 inches on Toledo Bend. So I don't know how many generators they got running, but I don't think the gates are all wide open. I think they're trying to, kind of hold it back a little bit. But anyway, Sam Rayburn, 172.11. Now, the lake is on the fall a little bit here at Sam Rayburn, which I was kind of glad to hear. It's 7.71 feet high. It's down from over 8 feet high. 10-day loss, 3.12 inches over 10 days. 24-hour loss, 1.92 inches. So they are pulling on Rayburn a little bit. I don't know if they got gates open or if they're generating But whatever they're doing, it's definitely on the fall as we speak. And I think there's a chance of rain tomorrow and Thursday, slight chances, like 30-40%. But after that, I think it's hot and dry, Kevin, for another 7 days. So we'll see what happens to all these lakes. But look for Rayburn to slowly start to come down if we're not getting any rain. And South Texas.
It needs to come down.
But anyway, Kevin, I've got one more thing. I've got a tip of the week. You got anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's going to do it for me for the week.
All right, you guys that are looking to go to Toledo Bend, or if you're headed for Sam Rayburn, look, flipping right now is a great technique on both those bodies of water because the lake's up. You got a little bit of fish in the bushes. You got good grass on Toledo Bend. You got plenty of water on Sam Rayburn if you want to flip bushes or trees. I'm going to tell you about something, the bobber stopper. A lot of guys, they don't believe in them. They don't think they do. Look, the main reason for the bobber stopper, for me, there's two reasons. I've got a bait rigged up here. I'm going to show you kind of what I do. I put a bobber stopper on both ends. I put one right above the hook, and then I put one right below the hook, right above the knot. Because a lot of times when you're punching, that weight is hopping up and down on that knot, and it can weaken that knot over time. So I like to put a stopper on both ends. And I just think it helps. It helps protect the knot, and it just makes it better. But the reason for the bobber stopper, you want to maintain contact with the bait and the weight. Because a lot of times what happens if you're Texas rigging without the bobber stopper, the weight gets on one side of the limb or the bush and the bait is on the other, and it doesn't pull the bait down. And so that's the purpose of the bobber stopper, to maintain the weight connection with the bait, where it pulls the bait down with it. And so now another mistake I see some guys make, I've had some co-anglers get in the boat with me, they don't have enough weight. Hey, look, they make these weights from 1 ounce, 3/4, up to 1.5 ounces. I said, you cannot have too much weight on there. Now, I do try to throw the least I can get away with. If it's kind of sparse grass, I can get away with 3/4, I'll throw 3/4. And but most of the time it's a 1 ounce weight for punching, 1.5 ounces. It depends on how thick the grass is. But for bushes, you can probably get away with 3/4 or 1 ounce weight. But anyway, that's my tip of the week. A hook that I like a lot too is the heavy cover worm hook by Gamakatsu. This is a 4/0. I use it on the beaver style type baits. It's a really good hook. Does a great job. It's got a good keeper on it, and keeps the bait up on the hook really good, and it penetrates really well on the hook set. It's a straight shank hook, which I do like for punching. And but anyway, try this. Use 2 bobber stoppers, 1 on each end, and I think you'll be more than happy, more than satisfied with the results. So, Kevin, anything else you want to add to that?
No, not to that. I mean, that's good. Some good tips right there. Will be our last show for the summer. Our weekly shows. We will have some shows here and there. We'll be posting about them on Facebook. We'll probably come back on after the Brandon Belt Championship, have the winners on to discuss, how it was won. Come back probably in September before or after a couple championships, October as well. But as far as weekly shows goes, this is the last one, Steve, for the year. So,
all right. Appreciate you guys. Again, we can't say thank you enough. Kevin and I, anytime you go by any of our sponsors, please tell them that you watch Tackle Talk Live and you appreciate their support of our program. It goes a long way for me and Kevin and helps us keep ourselves out there, which is what and again, we appreciate all the compliments we get at a boat ramp, on the water, in a tackle store, wherever it is. We appreciate when you come up to us and tell us that you watch the show. And I actually ran into a guy yesterday at the boat shop in Shreveport, and he talked about it and how much he enjoys the program. So, and he's from Shreveport. And but if you're fishing Toledo Bend, Sam Rayburn, we're going to give you good information. We're going to give you information that you can use, that you can take to the lake, and hopefully catch a lot of fish. So, all right, that's going to wrap us up with our summer for the summer of 2024. I want to thank you for tuning us in. Please check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you listen to any podcast. If you'd like to become a member of our sponsorship team, please message us on our Facebook page. Kevin will make sure he gets out a detailed packet on how you can become a sponsorship member. For Kevin Jean, yours truly, Steve Graff, thank you for watching. We'll see you September. We'll see you next September with more.
Maybe Brandon Belt Championship.
Yep, and right after Brandon Belt Championship. Until then, you've been watching Tackle Talk Live.